Hi, my name is Kiki Soto. Please enjoy this video portion of my joint presentation with Paul Stewart on using weeds as soil indicators. I first stumbled across this topic while scrolling through a horticulturalist page on Facebook, and as I looked through the slides and read some of the details, I noticed that a lot of these weeds I've seen either around town, in my yard, or even in my garden, and it started to make me wonder, what exactly was my garden telling me? Well, let's start with the soil decompactors. Soil decompacting plants use powerful taproots to break through compacted and heavy clay soils. The taproots reach deep into the soil and they offer pathways for nutrients, air, and water to revitalize soils. If your garden area is heavily populated with plants such as dandelions, lamb quarters, or plantains, it is a good indication that you may have heavy clay soil, soil that has been tilled, soil that is acidic, or soil that is low in lime. It's also a good indication of poorly draining soil or soil that is waterlogged, which this area tends to get very much. And here I'm just trying to pull out some of that dandelion root so you can see how deep the root actually goes in these clay soils in order to break it up. Well, as you can see, I am wrist deep trying to get some more of that root out, and it looks like that is all I'm going to be able to pull up today. This is actually a picture of a raised bed where I'm growing thyme, and as you can see, there's dandelion and plantain growing right in with the thyme. Even though this raised bed has been replenished with compost and organic materials over the past few years, at its base, it's still heavy clay soil. Now in the in-ground garden, I do have some collards planted, and as you can see, not too far behind it is a dandelion plant growing. Lamb's quarters, also known as goosefoot, is also a soil decompactor, but it is a good indicator that you are using soil that has been tilled and has high fertility. If you see lamb's quarters growing tall and strong in your garden, it is a good indication that your soil is fertile. However, if the weeds are pale and stunted, then the fertility in your soil may be low. Nitrogen fixers. Nitrogen fixing plants work with bacteria to put nitrogen back into the soil. They are generally from the legume family. They usually have symmetrical leaves that sit opposite each other, seed pods, and nodules on their roots. A very common example of a nitrogen fixing weed would be both white and red clover, vetch, bird's foot trefoil, sensitive plant, and showy rattlebox. New to my garden this year, or at least noticeable, was vetch. Erosion controllers. Erosion controllers generally spread quickly across eroding landscapes via fibrous root systems. The hairnet roots stop the soil from washing away in the rain, while the plants prevent it from blowing away in the wind. Some common erosion controllers include the ever-loved Bermuda grass, Johnson grass, pigweed, cobbler's pegs, and quackgrass. Quackgrass may be a sign of improper iron to manganese ratios in the soil. It can be found in meadows, cultivated fields, disturbed sites, and be found in many different types of soil. Quackgrass tends to like hard-pan soil with crusty surfaces. Potassium fixers. Potassium fixers, like bracken ferns, specialize in harvesting potassium where it is in short supply. They commonly appear after fires, during which most of the available potassium is burnt up. Some common examples of potassium fixers that you may recognize are bracken fern, blady grass, yarrow, knapweed, and chickweed. Let's discuss chickweed for a moment. If you have chickweed growing in your garden, it's a good indication of tilled soil with high fertility, unless, similar to lamb's quarters, the weeds are pale and stunted, then fertility may be low. Chickweed has a low growing habit, tends to grow kind of like a mat. Seeds germinate in the fall, preferring moist, fertile soils with a neutral pH. A single plant of common chickweed can produce up to 30,000 seeds, which is why this baby will not be here for long. Hairy bittercress is another fall-winter growing weed. It adapts to moist, disturbed soils that are heavily irrigated, often found in potted plants. If you find hairy bittercress in any of your potted plants, they're easy to pull out. Improving drainage and mulching should help. Mullein is a popular weed used in North America widely as a medicinal plant, but it doesn't take much to grow it. Wherever you see mullein growing, it's a good indication that that soil is neglected, uncultivated, and usually has low fertility. Mullein likes growing in neglected meadows and pasture lands, along fence rows and roadsides, in vacant lots, wood edges, forest openings, and industrial areas. Basically, anywhere that the soil is not tended to, fertilized, tilled, taken care of, mullein will grow and thrive. Like this abandoned doctor's office up the block from my house. Some of the most beautiful mullein I have ever seen. We are forever learning and forever growing in this world of horticulture. I'm glad that I stumbled across this topic because now I know that I can read the soil through the weeds. In 1 square meter of soil, there can be over 1,000 weed seeds just waiting for the right soil conditions to germinate. We can use this knowledge to get an overview of the soil condition just by looking at which weeds are growing. The sources used to help me create this informative video will be cited at the end of this video as credits. Please stay tuned for part 2 of Using Weeds as Soil Indicators presented by Paul Stewart. Thank you.